Hi, everyone. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum doing backstage interviews. I'm with Kevin Brewer of CMC Metals. Kevin, thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me here today,
All right.
Peter.
Well, it's our pleasure. Kevin, CMC has several projects. There is certainly a focus on silver, and that's why we're here together. But why don't we maybe start out, if this makes sense, we'll start out with with Silver Hart, which is your flagship, not necessarily permanently your flagship, but it is right now. And I'd like if you could maybe explain to us the potential at Silver Hart. And there's something in there about CRDs. Maybe you can explain that a little bit, how they tend to occur and why that makes this potentially exciting.
Sure. So you look at the history of Silver Hart, and it dates back to the really mid-1980s when a company called Silver Hart Mines Ltd went in there. And the focus for over, I'd say close on 30 years, was these high-grade silver-lead-zinc veins that occur right on the surface. But there was always discussion over the potential to look at skarn and or what they call these carbonate replacement deposits.
That's the CRD.
Yes, that's
right.
the CRD.
I want everybody to know that's the CRD.
The simple aspect about that really is that these hot fluids that come off of granite intrusions or granodiorite intrusions are so hot that the actual mineralization goes through the voids in the limestone, and they start to what we call replace the limestone with mineralization. So you get these large tabular bodies, typically high grade. They can be stacked, and they typically get associated with vein systems as well. So we had the veins, and now we're trying to find these stacked mantles. We do see a lot of stacked mantles on surface, and we have tested some of them.
So these are CRDs, carbonate replacement deposits. And what's exciting about CRDs? Why should people understand them? And I'll just sort of lead you on to a little bit, but how do they occur?
Well, they occur in clusters.
That's what I wanted.
They can be very high grade in nature as well, and so once you start to unravel the story on your sites of where you can find one, you're likely to find multiple sequences. So at Silver Hart, what we have is a large carbonate belt. It extends from Silver Hart over to the Blue Heaven property, which we now all call the Silver Hart project. And we've just taken a very small portion of that carbonate belt and looked at it. And we know that I did sample some former trenches on Blue Heaven this summer. I expanded them. I was finding stacked mantles. I know it, these rocks are heavy, when you hit them. And so we're waiting for assay results on all this stuff. But, there's a lot more to find in that 4-kilometer carbonate belt. So the story is far from over in terms of what we see Silver Hart unfolding. And of course, when we did a SkyTem survey as well, we identified a lot of conductors. We've only investigated a couple of them at this point, so we got a lot more homework to do.
So, is it fair to say that these kinds of modern technologies are probably important to help you potentially find these multiple CRDs?
I think the more you use technologies, and we're even using a lot more technologies when we on sort of what we call on-time technologies. So the XRF guns, which show us possible concentrations of different elements. We're using magnetometers to understand how magnetic the material is that we're doing. And you continuously look for new technologies. I mean, let's face it, Sean Ryan is the guru of looking at new technologies.
Exactly.
But it's very important to use a combination of these technologies, especially when it comes to geophysics and geochemistry and all that. You need all those ingredients to give you the level of confidence to say, yeah, that's a good drill target and I should hit it.
Exactly. So that helps you focus. It helps you potentially spend the money on the drilling in the higher potential places.
Yes. So the new drill target, Silverknife, is exactly that story. I mean, we flew it with a conductor. The area is under about 30 to 50 meters of quaternary cover, so I don't see a single rock. I know that the right rocks are north and south of that immediate area. So then we ran what we call a gravity survey over that. And that gravity looks for density. And minerals like that are lead and zinc bearing are very dense. Sphalerite and galena, and often silver is associated with those. So when we managed to find a gravity anomaly in line with a conductor, which is your silver, then we had a greater confidence that in fact we had a viable drill target on that property. So we're hitting that this year with about 3,000 meters.
Okay, so that's definitely something that viewers should look forward to in terms of the kind of feedback coming out of that work.
Yes, and it's our first attempt at the Silverknife property. Is right next to one of the highest grade underground silver-lead-zinc mines in the world, called Silvertip. But they are finding a lot of new potential in the area, and that's very encouraging for us because it gives further prospectivity to our own property. And they're also finding that the mineralization is not limited to very finite areas. They're finding it in larger, thicker parts of the limestone. So that's very important, because a lot of the limestone that is prospective on our property is actually a little bit lower in the stratigraphy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I've heard you say that Silverknife could potentially become a new flagship for you. Do you want to maybe expand on that? Do I have that right?
Well, yeah, because I mean we're still looking for a carbonate replacement deposit. There's so much resource you're going to get out of a vein system, and that's it. I mean, there ultimately is a limit to what you can achieve in actual total resource at the end of the day. And that's why at Silver Hart we started looking outside of the vein system. I still have drill targets on the vein system, but we had to look outside of that to try to find a larger resource. And so at Silverknife, the target right away is a CRD. Mm-hmm. We're not looking at veins, and so these things are going to be potentially larger if we hit them.
All right. So for 2023, can you kind of give us an overview of what your plans are? I mean, it might be a little bit early, but if you can give us an overview and maybe give us an idea of some of the catalysts that we can expect.
Sure. 3,000 meter drill program on the Silverknife project with a detailed examination of the entire property, because we never looked really at the southern part of that property at all. Secondly, at Silver Hart, a total compilation of all work that's been done from the 1980s onwards, which has never been put together to try and better understand the story there. It's being done by a company called Rodney and Mackenzie out of Toronto. We're very, very happy they've decided to do that work for us. Bridal Veil in Newfoundland is our third most important project at this stage. It's a project that's 15 kilometers east of Newfound Gold. It's got some great alteration on it. We got golden soils. We're trying to figure out whether we have something or we don't, but it certainly looks like a subsidiary system to the east of the big grub line. So that could be a very exciting project in the future. And then finally, back to the silver lead side of things. We've got the Amy prospect, which is 8 kilometers to the west. There is a road there, but the road does cross a major river crossing. We've identified a new northern routing to the project, so we have to work on permitting that new routing. We got to go through other people's lands. We have to work with First Nations on their traditional lands and their expectations of the area. So we're going to have a lot of dialogue with First Nations over this before we want to put the permit in for that new access road. So I think Amy is a permit year, and that in itself already has a known CRD deposit on it. So it's kind of very close to being drill ready.
Excellent.
Yes.
So maybe in a few words, what would you like to leave viewers with in terms of a takeaway on CMC?
Well, CMC is a company that's building a pipeline of projects. We take on very grassroots projects, and we also have a couple of advanced exploration level projects. What we try to do is bring in a drill ready stage project every 18 to 24 months into this company, which gives us, can give us new life if we need it. Exploration is not always successful, let's face it. So you need something else in that basket to follow up. And that's how we minimize risk to our shareholders. And we're always looking at new ventures and in new areas. And I'll just say I'm always looking at new projects. It's a never-ending exercise. Probably looking at a half dozen projects right now. We might add more into the portfolio. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, thank you for that fantastic overview of CMC, and we look forward to your progress this year.
Well, thank you again. And it's always a pleasure to be at Metals Investor Forum, and we're going to be in Toronto as well. So we look forward to joining everybody there.
Thank you.
Okay.